Happy Camper Radio, episode 003. Come on, let's go camping. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and yes, you, my friends, can be one too. It's episode 003, and I'll tell you, it is just a great fun time. It is a great opportunity to be here, to be outdoors, to be around great people. It doesn't get any better than this. Stress-free life. You know, I tell folks all the time, why would you want to do anything else but camp? I do it. It's a part of my life, and I hope it becomes a part of yours as well as your family's. 404-537-2267 is our phone number here at the studio. You can give us a call anytime, day or night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Leave us your name, where you're calling from, and be sure to include your camping question in your voicemail. We'll go ahead and get you on an upcoming episode and answer your camping question for you. On the other hand, if you want to go ahead and email us, you can do that too. Go to our website, www.happycamperradio.com, and just go ahead and click on the appropriate links and take you right there to the email page. Let's everybody gather together right around the campfire. I'm going to reach over here as I normally do. Go ahead and get the campfire lit. And, I'm going to put some hickory on this campfire today because I love the smell of hickory. I love the crackle and the pop sound like the cereal, that's just what, it's just so awesome. It just makes me just want to relax. And that's what I want each and every one of you to do right here, right now at the campsite. Let that stress of everyday life, and there's plenty of it out there, folks, let it roll off your shoulders. Just kick on back because we're here to talk camping. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. This is the Happy Camper Radio Show. All right, this week, we got accepted into another podcast directory. Yes, we can now be found on the Myro Guide podcast directory. Oh, yeah, I am so pleased about that. And I'd like to thank all the folks over there at Myro Guide for welcoming us and allowing us to be a part of their family. We're reaching out, folks, to more and more individuals who want to go camping. And I really hope that this program, as we move forward, inspires and encourages more and more folks to get involved, not only with themselves, but also with their families, because, again, I point out, this is a family-oriented camping podcast, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Springtime is here. Yes, spring. Oh, I got to tell you about spring. Spring, summer, fall, and winter, but spring, why is spring so special? Right around the time that we move the clocks forward. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? On a day that you have to work Sunday morning and you unfortunately lose an hour's sleep because we moved the time forward, we say spring forward and fall back. I have something else that I call it, all right? I do call it fall back whenever the time comes, but to me, it's spring forward, camp forward. Spring forward, camp forward. And I'll tell you why that is. Because right around this time of the year, when we turn the clocks forward, and incidentally, yes, I do, like many other people do, you change the batteries in your smoke detectors. That is very, very important. So let me toss that out there because safety, just like anything else, it's important in the home as well as out there on the campsite. But right around the time that we move the clocks forward, I also camp forward. That means that I go pull out all of my camping equipment. I have it set up in my garage, or in some cases the driveway. It all depends upon how cluttered my garage is at that time. And I start laying everything out, taking a good look exactly what I have. What do I need? Is there anything here that I can discard? Not really, because I pretty much hold on to everything. But there is some things that I may want to go out and buy, and they're usually very minor things. Only things that cost maybe $1 or $2 here and there, but I may go ahead and find out that I need maybe some replacement mantles for my lantern. Maybe I'm running a little low on lantern fuel. Anything, maybe some dish soap, maybe some rags and some dishcloths and what have you. I may need some of those, maybe some more paper towels. But this is right about that time that I break all of my gear out and start doing an inventory, examining it, taking a look at what I have and what I'm going to need for the upcoming camping season. I do camp in the wintertime. I want to point that out too. I am not afraid of the cold weather. Of course, the cold weather is not suitable for everybody. I come from up in the northern part of the country where snow is sometimes 3 or 4 feet on the ground. Now, have I camped out in that kind of weather before? I search my memory banks here. I think maybe once or twice, but I don't make a habit of it because it does get cold. And let's face facts, folks. When you go out there to camp, you're out there to have a good time. You're not out there to go freezing yourself to death. But springtime is the time when things really start happening. Campgrounds start to reopen. The leaves are back on the trees. There are plenty of great opportunities to go hiking with yourself, with your friends, your family. Nature is out there. Wildlife is out there. There is great fishing in the spring. There is so many things that can happen in the springtime. And, I want to really start planning very, very carefully here in the upcoming weeks ahead on what weekends that I'm going to set aside, that I'm going to designate that will be camping weekends where I can get away. I also want to point out, too, and I mentioned this in the previous podcast as well, there are campgrounds that are not very far away from your home. All you've got to do is go out there and look for them. You can find a lot of them online. One of the places that I refer to all the time, recreation.gov. You can log on to their website just very simply going to our website and clicking on the link. You may find that you had a campground right around the corner that you didn't even know about. Don't overlook some of the private campgrounds out there as well. These are great places to get away. I have a campground that is not too far from my house. I think it's no more than 5 to 7 minutes away. I can go there anytime I want. When the stress is starting to get on me, it's time to go ahead and load up your gear, put it in the truck, head on out, and do a little bit of camping. It makes a whole lot different. It makes a big difference, I'm trying to say here. A big difference in your life. It'll make a big difference in your family's lives as well. It makes you a much, much better person. Now, while I'm getting very excited about springtime camping, I want to point out, too, that this time of the year is not a very good time in some cases. Why? Because it is the pollen season. And it's happening right now here where I live. Just this past week, I looked out the window, and we haven't had any good rain here in a while. But I looked out the window in this beautiful, beautiful 1996 Ford F-150 pickup truck that I drive, that I take very good care of, incidentally, like I do my camping equipment. It has over 200,000 miles on it. It is a beauty. Sitting in my driveway, it is now covered with this ugly-looking, yellowish, green, powdery substance, which we know as pollen. A lot of people don't want to be out camping in the pollen season. Now, for me personally, it doesn't bother me. I can camp in just about any type of environment, even when the pollen is flying out there in the air. On the other hand, you may have some individuals in your family that don't do very well in the pollen season. They may have allergies. Even if you have one person in your family that's got allergies, especially when it comes to pollen, and you're planning a camping trip, and you come to find out what the pollen count is and it doesn't look good, you might want to go ahead and postpone your trip for another day, even at the sake of one family member. Because to do otherwise, you are going to have your weekend ruined. You're going to have your week-long trip ruined. You're going to, in most cases, have to come back home. And, you don't want to do that. You want to go out there to have fun. You want to come back safe and sound. And you want to bring back with you tons and tons of good memories. That's what camping is all about. Somebody this past week asked me, Skip, how much does it actually cost to go camping? I had somebody actually put me on the spot. Now, I tell people all the time, camping is a relatively inexpensive activity to get involved in. It doesn't take very much money. It doesn't take much of an investment. Now, I could sit here and I can put figures out on the table in front of you. How much do you want to spend? It's kind of like buying a car. Do you want to buy a small compact car? Or do you want to buy an SUV? Maybe you want to buy something very, very expensive. You want to buy a luxury car. You have a lot of choices to make. But here's the way I like to put it. Let's say you have a family of 4. You're starting to look now, all right, I've got to go buy a tent. I've got to buy 4 sleeping bags. What are we going to put under the sleeping bags? Maybe some air mattresses, maybe some foam padding, because you're going to want to have something between the ground and you. You're going to have some sort of a barrier there. Maybe you want to go ahead and buy some cots. All right, you're starting to add all these figures up. Here's what I say, folks. Let's just say you and your family are planning on going to a sporting event. How much is it going to cost you for this one-time event to get there and to get back home? All right. First of all, you're going to calculate the cost of gas to get to the arena or the stadium, wherever you're going to go. You're going to get there and you're going to have to pay for parking. Then you're going to have to pay for tickets to get inside the event. In some cases, you may have a situation where it's close to being sold out and you may have to end up buying tickets from somebody who is just not going to go there. But, I don't think they're going to part with the tickets for anything less than face value. But let's just say for the purpose of conversation, you get to this destination that you're going to go to see this team play, and you really go there hoping that your favorite team is going to win. It's very disappointing when you leave there and they lost. But you get there, you've got a family of 4, you're going to go inside. If you decide you want to sit in a section where the players down on the field look like ants running around, tickets are not going to cost you all that much money. On the other hand, if you want to get a close-up view, if you want to be right down near the field, you're going to pay a bundle for those tickets. Once you get inside, your kids are going to be screaming they want programs. So you get one program, and hopefully they're going to share and not cause a big commotion. And hopefully you, your wife, and your 2 children stuffed yourself and ate before you went to the stadium or the arena. Because if you did not, and you spend the entire time eating concession stand food while you were there, be prepared to grab your wallet and grab it hard and hold on. Because that food right there is costly. Very, very expensive. How do I know this? Because back in my law enforcement days, I used to work at some of these events. I used to follow around the guy who carried a briefcase, going from concession stand to concession stand, making change and picking up large sums of money. I was escorting him. I know what this food cost, folks. It is very, very expensive. So take that into consideration too. Then you've got the cost of traveling home, getting in your car and going home. Did I throw parking in there too? I think I did. Throw in a couple more dollars for wear and tear on your vehicle. How much did you just spend for a one night out with the family? And believe me, folks, no, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong. If you enjoy watching your favorite team play and you have the opportunity and the ability to go see them play, and it's very, very entertaining for you, your family, go. By all means, go ahead and do it. But for cost comparison, that's what I'm putting out here today. How much is it going to cost to camp compared to actually going to a sporting event and spending money that you could otherwise invest in some equipment that will be there week after week, month after month, year after year? By the time you're done, you probably could have bought your tent, 4 sleeping bags, 4 rollout mats, maybe some cots, depending upon how much money you want to spend there. You could probably buy maybe 1 or 2 lanterns. And I'm just throwing these things out here. There's going to be some other things you're going to need too. You're going to want to have a cooler and your stoves. I mean, I got a variety of things, and I didn't buy this stuff overnight, folks. It took me a little bit of time, and I wouldn't have had it any other way. Now, if you got a big wad of money and you want to go out there and buy all your equipment, fine, go ahead and do that. And then you could be out here camping this week. But for myself, going back into my younger years, when my children were a lot younger, I like to take that a step at a time. Because it gets me excited, it gets them excited, and even if we just go into the store to buy one or two things, and we come on out and we start talking, hey, yeah, we're going to use this, and here's how we're going to use it when we go to the campground. Let's go ahead and put this with some of the things we bought already, and next week we'll come by here, and since we already took a look at this, and this, we'll go ahead and buy one of them as well, too. And that way your kids keep themselves motivated, they keep excited, and they keep wanting to go back and back more and more. So yes, I mean, you actually look at it, look at the cost comparison. Remember this, folks, you're going to be making an investment in your future. Now, your one-time sporting event, that's going to be coming and gone, and you're hopefully going to come home with good memories, but that will never return. You will not get that back. You buy your camping equipment, you take good care of your equipment, and you're going to have that equipment to use for your next camping trip, the one after that, and maybe 20 or 30 more down the road before you may have to start replacing a couple things here and there, but you're going to be talking about a little bit of change just to do that. In last week's episode, we talked about tents, and we got very, very much into detail about buying a tent, shopping for a tent, what to look for, setting up that tent, taking it down. And after last week's episode, I had an opportunity to sit back and reflect a little bit. And I said to myself, you know, there's some real fine points here that I didn't really touch on that I do need to touch on today. And I want to go ahead and just kind of to extend last week's show just a little bit. Now, for those of you out there who went and bought a tent this past week after listening to our show, congratulations. I hope that tent brings you many, many fine years of entertainment, recreation, fun, and good memories with you and your family. That's what it's all about. If you had not purchased your tent, but say you were out there looking, you went into your local department store, you found some tents there in the camping aisle, but nothing really, suited you, and you wanted to shop around a little bit more, well, congratulations. Buying a tent is not going to be an easy thing to do. I don't like to make knee-jerk decisions when I buy my camping equipment, especially if it's going to be something that is going to last me a long, long time. If you're doing comparison shopping, great. That is great too. If you are looking online, maybe you're taking the time to go to one of the camping supply stores, because like I said, you're going to have some tents that are going to be right there on the showroom floor, and your children are going to want to engage those tents and get inside and move around. Taking your time to do this is very, very important. Why? Because you're, again, are making an investment. It's the same as going out and buying a brand new car. Now, I don't expect to be buying a car anytime soon, but I can remember the last time that I did buy a car. It was not a knee-jerk decision. I carefully shopped around and looked at my options. I may have gone to a lot where they sell cars and found that they didn't have the color, style, and model of a car that I wanted. So I moved on, and I went somewhere else, and I looked around there. And eventually, I found something that I liked. And I checked back at some of the other places to see if they got any cars in. And then I started looking around and deciding, all right, how much am I going to spend? How much do I want to spend? Where am I going to get a great deal? And I took my time to do that and did some comparison shopping. You should be doing this when you buy a tent, too. It's going to drive your kids crazy, but that's all right. They know eventually you're going to come home with a tent, even if you buy it online. Having the UPS guy deliver that to your door and your kids standing around there, they're all going to want to open the box. All right, let your children engage in that, folks. Let your children be a part of every bit of that. Take the tent out in your backyard or in your front yard. You can do that there too. I don't mind setting up my equipment in my front yard and showing it off to my neighbors. If they're looking over at me, I'm waving. I don't know what they're thinking, but hey, I'm having a great time, and that's all that matters. But allow your children to help you set up that tent, help you take down that tent. Make sure they understand the importance of care and maintenance too. Because again, like I say, the longer you take care of that tent, the longer that tent is going to take care of you. Something else I want to point out that I didn't mention last week, and if you had an opportunity to look at the camping pics on our website of our fall 2012 camping trip, I believe you can see it. If not, you can definitely see it on our Facebook page too. My tent is the blue tent with the cot set up on the inside. You may notice at the very, very entrance to that tent, I have a piece of scrap carpet that I brought from home, and I lay it out there the same as I would a doormat in front of my front door. What is it there for? Why do you have a doormat on your front porch? For people to wipe their feet, right? You don't want to bring dirt, you don't want to bring leaves and any of those things inside your home. You definitely don't want to bring them inside your tent either. It's going to be more hassle for you to clean that up before you pack your tent away for your next camping trip. Kids, let me talk to you for a second. How would mom act if you were out playing in the mud all day and you come storming through the house, through the kitchen, around the dining room table, into the living room, up the steps and into your bedroom, and you left a track of mud all the way through? Mom would not be very, very happy. She definitely wouldn't be a happy camper. Okay? But that's the way it is. And you want to go ahead and keep all of that on the outside of your tent. And you do that by bringing a piece of scrap carpet. You don't have to go out and buy something. If you've got a piece of carpet laying around the house or maybe an extra mat somewhere, toss that along with your camping supplies, because it should go with you each and every time that you go camping and every time that you set up your tent. It's going to save you a whole lot of trouble down the road. Also, let me remind you again about the Great American Backyard Campout that is coming up here, folks, on June the 22nd. Yeah, we talked about it last week, and we've got a link on our website at www.happycamperradio.com. Just click on Skip's Corner and go to the links page, and there you'll see it. The Great American Backyard Campout. Registration is free, doesn't cost you a dime. It's a great way to get family and friends together for a one-night event. It's going to be one time that you can join thousands and thousands of great people all across the country who share in this desire to get in touch with nature. And like I say, registration is free. They're doing a fundraiser. It's a great fundraiser, too, if you want to get involved. All the details are right there on their website. In fact, I may give these folks a call and see if I can get one of their representatives to be on the program here in the upcoming weeks ahead and maybe talk to you a little more in detail about it. I know I'm getting pumped up. Just this past week, being on vacation like I was, I had an opportunity to get some chores done around the house. I began clearing out this one section in the back corner of my property where I do my camping. Yes, I do backyard camp, folks. I don't do it that often. I like going out. I like getting out there in the wilderness. But from time to time, I like to set up my little corner spot back there on the property and put my gear out where it's partially shaded, some pine trees. I got a fire pit back there. I am in heaven when I do this. But I'm definitely going to be out there, and I've got some friends that are going to be joining me. It's the Great American Backyard Campout coming up on Saturday, June the 22nd. If it rains that day, no big deal. We're going to go ahead and move that to another day. But I'm still going to go ahead and register and take part in that event. Now I've got a surprise for you. On next week's episode of the Happy Camper Radio Show, I've got a very special guest that I'm going to be bringing here in the studio. This is somebody who I consider to be a good friend, somebody who loves camping along with his lovely wife, and who was also one of the persons who were very, very instrumental in helping me get this episode up and running. I think I may have told you before, this event, this particular podcast, the Happy Camper Radio Show, was about a year in the making. And there were times when I was just getting down and out, but he kept on me. He kept pumping me up. When he saw me down, he brought me up. And I know he's just dying to be on the program here. His name is Daniel. Daniel, again, is my next door neighbor. And he has been over here on a number of occasions to tour the studio and just to talk camping. I could talk hours and hours about camping with Daniel. Just this past week, he and his wife went out and bought a pickup truck to haul their pop-up camper, which has been sitting in their driveway for a very, very long time. And I'm going to get extremely jealous the day that I see them hook that pop-up camper to the back of their truck and go down the road, because I know they're going to be going camping. And unfortunately, it's going to be that weekend that I'm going to have to stay home and I'm not going to be able to do any camping myself. But that's okay. I'm going to get out there. Daniel, you're going to get to meet him next week. Daniel Pitts, right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. I believe he's probably going to be a regular, because if he's anybody like me, like I say, he'll talk up camping and he'll talk it up for hours and hours at a time. Daniel, next week on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Well, folks, that about brings us up now to our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And this week we travel to the Keystone State, Pennsylvania, my home state. And we're going to go up to the Alatoona State College area to 7 Points, Pennsylvania. 7 Points, PA, that's our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. I have not been to this campground before, but I can promise you this. The next time I visit home, I am hauling my gear up there with me, because this looks like a great, great place to go camping. There's a lot to be offered there. They have got a lot of amenities, a lot of great activities for the kids to be involved with. This is definitely a family-oriented campground. They've got mountain biking, they got playgrounds, they got trails, they got boat rentals. It's mountainous up there. It looks absolutely beautiful. And if you go to their link, which you'll find right on our website at happycamperradio.com, click on their facility map, you'll see exactly what they have to offer. Now, I got to point this out to you. They only have 6 non-electric sites. Everything else is standard electric. Now, that does not mean, again, you bring your flat panel TV with you. You're camping, remember that. All right. So take a look at it there. They've got a lot to offer. Something else I want to point out to you also, that the season runs through Sunday, October the 27th, and there are 4 months throughout the year. And I think if you look down here on this part with things you need to know before you go, April, May, September, and October. These months are first come, first serve sites. So you don't need to make any reservations. Any other time, go to the website there. You'll find a link on our website this week to 7 Points, Pennsylvania. It is the recreation.gov campsite of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. I am very excited about that. I just come across it this week, and I hope to get up there someday soon to do some serious camping. This place looks absolutely awesome. Take a look at their website there, browse through it. And again, if you haven't already signed up for a free account, you can do so by clicking on that website and looking up in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see in yellow letters, sign up. Sign up for an account. It makes your reservations so much easier down the road. 7 Points, Pennsylvania, our featured campsite of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And if you have a campground you would like for us to feature later on down the road, definitely send me an email. I would like to take a good look at it here, and we'll see possibly about getting that on the program as well. Also, if you have a link to their website, to their campground, definitely send that along too. I want to take a look at that as well. But there's a lot of great camping to be done out there. We'll have another campground for you to take a look at next week on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Don't forget, you can catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And yes, you, my friends, can be one too. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.